now. Okay, let's do this. Thank you, everyone, for joining this Friday's call. This is our first uh, all hands on deck CEO call here with all the investors. We've got CEOs of our companies on here, and we have prospective investors as well. And I wanted to do this. Well, I don't really like doing this stuff because I like moderating, where I'm not doing a lot of talking. I'm just kind of moderating it. I'm not a big fan of talking the whole time because it's a little uncomfortable. But I did have a few people ask me after we had our 4 CEO calls if we were going to do a recap which I've done on email, or if we were going to do just a highlight of where I thought things were going with Pig. So I figured we should do this. So hopefully you did get a chance to see the calls. If you didn't, all calls except for Golden Eagles were recorded. I've sent links, and I will send follow-up links as well on those. Sorry, I'm getting a little feedback. I'm trying to mute everyone I see. I will send links to those calls so you can get caught up. But they were all great calls. And we've actually done a lot of great things. Our 1-year anniversary was July 19th. We had a pig anniversary here in Dallas. 83 people showed up, including all the CEOs. I'm confident that next year's will be in Dallas again, and we expect probably to have close to 200 people. There were about 30 or 40 people who last minute couldn't make it. And if those 30 or 40 would have brought a spouse or a partner, then that would have taken us to about 150. And now we're going to have at least another 50 or 60 investors between now and the next event. So I do expect to have close to 200 people in Dallas. And for that reason, it's why I've built the Pig Party Planning Committee, which I believe has 5 or 6 people with all experience on big party plans. So it'll be different than this year's, which I thought was great. But this will have a full day workshop, probably about an hour with each CEO during the day, Q&A, more time for sponsors to talk about themselves. And that way, the main event at night will be 30 minutes tops, which, of course, this year's ran a little long at about 2.5+ hours. So I will say, since that July 19th event, we've raised $1.7 million in pig money, which is pretty awesome. That was literally 2+ months ago, 7 weeks ago. So I think that was pretty cool. For those who don't know, I'll do this very quickly because some of you do know, but I just wanted to start with a quick origin story of Pig and how it started. It actually started with OC Local, the first one, which is not part of the Pig portfolio, but Patrick Thomas, the CEO and founder of OC Local, is a good friend of mine. And I was one of his original and larger investors for the first restaurant. He, within a year, wanted to open the second one, which is going to be OC Local at Anaheim. I'll give updates on that and when it starts in a minute. And he wanted, it was a 2.5x raise from the first one. So he wanted a minimum, I think, of $55,000 per investor. And I told him I could probably get 20 guys to give 10 grand, which is 200,000, which he wanted. But I just don't know if I can get 20 people to put 50 grand together. And he said, can't you just pool it all together? I said, let me figure it out. So that's how Pig started. It started solely for intended to be one and done, just for the restaurant, to raise $230,000 out of a $2.5 million raise. That's all he asked for. So I put it together. Next thing you know, you need to have lawyers and contract lawyers, and then the SEC comes calling and asks what you are. We're a group fund. Are you SEC licensed? Do you have your LLC's license? Like, oh my God, like I did not expect not only the time, energy, but the cost. So I did this, and ultimately it's why we're doing this whole Pig thing in the first place, is I did it because I'd already given Patrick my version of my money. And I knew that if he didn't raise enough money, there is no restaurant and I'd lose my money. So I did it to protect my investment. And that's kind of what Pig has become. We protect our investment by getting more money. So that $230,000 ended up to be $1 million that we ended up raising for Patrick, which makes us about a 59% majority investor in the restaurant. For those who have asked me, which that's one of your questions that I got here earlier today, I talk to Patrick almost daily. He has put me on the emails to the county commissioner so I can see what is happening. And we've been waiting on one approval, and we expect to have a grand opening here in the early part of January. It could be February, but it is not going to happen this year. But they are close. It takes 3 months once they get their last approval to get everything done. And we are at final approval either this week or next. So if that takes us October, that's October, November, December. Safe to say January. There will be a grand opening for the pig investors. We are going to do a pig grand opening that is solely for us, for those who are coming from across the country, which is awesome. He is doing his typical grand opening. There's going to be 10,000 people there. Not my thing. I want to do something where we're special. In fact, what we had negotiated was we will be the first keg of beer being poured will be for the pig family. So I think that's cool. So that hopefully answers the first part. So we were supposed to be one and done. That's it. Pig is done. And a lot of work for a restaurant. In the middle of that raise, one of our restaurant investors, who is my business partner in Neighborhood Loans and a very good friend of mine, Ross Murray, he had told me that he had founded and was a partner to a solar company. And he introduced me to them and said, can you guys try raising money for us? I said, well, I wasn't planning on making this kind of a thing, but sure. So let's go for a second one. And we have raised, I think, close to $500,000 or $600,000. Our goal is to finish up the year with about $1 million. And I'll talk about Reva specifically a little bit later. But right around that time, I set up a process where Pig is now able to receive IRA money, which has been a huge game changer. It's been about 45% of the money we've raised life to date for these 5 companies. You can use any of your IRA companies, but we have partnered with Madison Trust. I'd say that's about 90% of the people are using Madison Trust. And they've just been really good to us, especially lately. So IRA money is important. Not a lot of people are cash rich. Not a lot of people want to spend their cash right now. And if you see what's happening with the market right now, I mean, look at today, we're at all-time highs. If you believe it's going to stay at all-time highs, that's great. Keep running it. If you think that the bubble is going to burst at some point, that's when you take your IRA money, don't get any tax hits at all, to then transfer to Madison Trust, which then can transfer to any one of these investment companies, companies that we invest in. The CEOs aren't set up to be able to receive IRA money, but I am. So you send it to me, and it's a pass through, and it goes right to your IRA company. So that's been pretty cool. So now we are in the business of raising. Well, the OC raise was 230,000. We did it 4 times, so that was close to $1 million. And then we went over to Reva. I already mentioned that one. Somewhere in the process of talking to Reva, one of our original investors in the restaurant, Carlos, introduced me to his very good friend, Dakota, who's on the call right now. He's the CEO of Golden Eagle. I love the product. I thought it was great. I liked Dakota. Ultimately, now I love him. His executive team is great. And obviously, the product speaks for itself. It's the #1 rated vodka in the world with a 97 rating, and it's won all these awards. But they needed lift, and they needed to get off the ground. So Dakota and his executive team came out to my New Year's Eve party that I have every year, as did Ross and his team from Solar. And we cut a deal that night. We started a raise, I think, January 12th. And we are since now just over the $2 million mark we've raised for Golden Eagle. And we're still going. And I'll talk about Golden Eagle here again in a little bit. So now we're 3 companies in. And it's starting to get crazy. We ended the year prior to Golden Eagle. We ended 2023 with 18 investors, including myself, for $655,000 for 2 companies. We hadn't finished the OC Local million. We were halfway done. So that was OC Local and Reva only. So I had dinner with my wife one night at the tail end of the year, and she asked, did you expect this to blow up like this? I'm like, not really. And she's like, what do you want to do? I said, we're all in. Let's go. Let's double this. So I figured if we did this in just under 6 months, then we can double that in 2024. That would be a new 1.3 mil if we double that. And then that would get us to 1.95 total. And that would be a total of 51 investors by the end of 2024. So remember those numbers, because I'm going to hit my numbers in a minute. So then after we do the Golden Eagle start of the raise, that's when we actually started changing the company a little bit. And that's the logo behind me, that selfie over there. That changed from the original logo, which was just kind of a Porky the Pig type logo. And then we upgraded to an actual professional website that was done by the Neighborhood Loans marketing department. And it seems like we became a real company. We got most of our LLCs set up from the SEC, and then we were off to the races. I knew that for us, the goal of the company is, like in the first one, is if we raise more money, we de-risk our investment. So I really want Dakota's company, Golden Eagle, and I want Ross and Dan's company, Reva Solar, and of course the OC Local. I want them to have the money to be able to do what they can do, so they can spend the capital they need, so they can take the company to where they want to go, so then they can sell the company and have an exit strategy, which then benefits me. And that was my selfish goal while we started the whole thing. Now, of course, I'm doing this for all of us as well. So as we're growing that and growth had skyrocketed, I thought I needed to start a pig board. I needed to get a group of people that I trusted, that I liked, that had the same interest that I do. They were all investors. You have to be at least 6 figures in and had referred at least 6 figures in referrals. And that means you're all in. That means your money, your hard-earned money, is working for Pig. And you want to help grow and expand the company. So I started a board. It was with 2 people first, Juan and Mark, and then we grew it and we grew it and we grew it. I'll hit on the board a little bit more in a minute, but it's really the real reason why we've grown as much as we have. So one of our board members, James Bartlett, he actually introduces me in, I think, the spring of this year to Strong Coffee, which is based out of Austin, Texas. So he knew them through his nephew, who was one of the leaders of the company. And I met Strong, loved them, thought they were a great company and awesome product as well. Good leaders. And they just hosted the CrossFit Games, and they are hosting, thanks to one of our Pig investors, they are hosting the World Pickleball Championships as well. So here in Dallas in November. So awesome company. Now we're in coffee company. So we're in restaurants, we're in solar, we're in vodka, we're in coffee. Then one of our multi-investors, Steve and Mimi, who are in all those companies, they introduced me to Siggy Clavian, who is the CEO of an awesome company, Equilibrium, which you would know them probably better as Deliverance, which is a liver care company. And we started working with them and started to raise with them. So those are our 5 companies. That's kind of how it started. It has spiraled from one restaurant, 230,000, to, remember the goal, 2024's goal was 51 investors for a $1.3 million. Well, as of today, we are now, with 3 months left in the year, with 79 investors in 21 states, 2 countries, for $4.8 million raised. And that is not counting the $100,000 that was committed to me about 20 minutes ago via text from one of our investors. So soon that'll be 4.9 mil. So we've exceeded all goals. The company has grown tremendously. OC Local has their $1 million. There's 32 investors in the restaurant. Golden Eagle's over $2 million with more commitments, and they have 64 of our 79 investors. So if you're part of the Pig family, you're pretty much going to be in our vodka portfolio. Coffee, which started, I think, in June, so not even half a year, has 36 investors for over 500,000 with a projection of $1 million. Reva Solar has 26 investors with over 600,000. Also, the goal is to at least get to $1 million. And Deliverance has 13 investors. We just started them probably 60 days ago for $360,000, and the goal is to get them to $1 million. So if you're a company in need, and we have tons of companies who are reaching out to me. I mean, we're at over 25 requests from companies who are either cold calling or they're coming through your referrals who are asking, hey, can we get some of your money? But if you are a company in need, there's a good chance. I mean, we haven't had any company receive less than 500,000, and most of our companies are going to get over $1 million. So you've heard about the 5 companies we're partnered with, but you haven't heard about the other ones. So what we're looking for, and this was one of the questions that I received from Dennis, one of our investors, which is what is the vetting process? Now that we have a board, it's a little different. It was just me vetting the companies, talking to the CEOs. Hasn't changed much other than I have a group of trusted folks, and I want us all to be bought in. It's important for me that when we buy into a company that every board member is also an investor. That way, when they tell their friends and their friends and their friends, they can look them in the eye and say, I'm an investor in this company as well. So we look for good leadership, number one. We look for companies that help diversify our portfolio and not compete with each other. I'm not going to be in another coffee company or a solar company. I don't want to be involved in another restaurant or another liquor unless that liquor is tied in with Golden Eagle. And we want to make sure we're not kind of competing with one another and taking money from the other one. And we want to make sure we have a combo, and this is tricky, as much low risk as you can get in an investment with as much high return as you can get. And that, some of these companies are real risky and, they want to sell for $1 trillion. So that's kind of not balanced. And then some of these companies aren't as risky and they want to sell for less. So I'm very confident and very happy with the companies we have. I have zero regrets of partnering with any of the companies we have. I mean, as of now, we've got huge upside. Our coffee with a 10 to 20x return goal, vodka with a 20 to 40x return goal, Deliverance and Reva over 75x return. Both of those want to be $1 billion franchises. And then the restaurant, it's different because it's not an equity play. As soon as they get profitable, which as they have in the first restaurant, they're paying us back quarterly residuals with our investment interest. So that's more of a cash play on that one. So we're actively in talks with 3 companies in 3 different and unique sectors One has made me a proposal of how much they need and what equity they want. Another, I've made a counter proposal and what I believe their company's worth. And then the other one, we're still in the due diligence phase. I've got two board members meeting them this weekend. So I expect that we have two new companies in the pig portfolio by the end of the year, if not within the next few weeks. So that's kind of where we're at. And what I'm most proud of in building pig, which is one of the questions someone asked me, what are you most proud of? Is really the pig army. Our group of investors have become ambassadors, influencers, consumers. There's a lot of posting in social media. I mean, Dakota's company has what would I say, 60 plus investors who are all on social media talking about the vodka, getting their 15% discount. I mean, we are free salespeople. And we do it for free because we know that as the revenue comes from the bottle selling, and of course we get our discounts, we know it's raising the value of the company, which is really important because one day when they sell, we all get paid. So we actively promote these companies. We're creating more exposure, and then we've got this army where some of our investors are financial planners, and I brought that up before. And now some of you all have a new financial planner or CPA. Or the marketing group from Shane and Marina Miller, who are not only marketing experts, but they're the ones who brought Strong Coffee the pickleball championships. There's so many levers to this. Social media experts, website design experts. I mean, there's so many folks within this army of 79 people that I like the community that's been built. So it's pretty exciting. We have currently our pig group through one of our board members is inside Reva Solar. We have big investors that are now partnering and working with Deliverance. I'm on the board of just about all of our 5 companies, and so it's pretty exciting. So that is kind of where we're at. I did want to talk about the board briefly, and then I'll answer your questions, and of course I'll answer any question live as well. So real quick on the board, because I'm looking here right now. So we have 7. We call it the Pig 7. I won't go in order of who came when, because we're all here now. But James Bartlett, who's been a 15 to 20 year friend of mine that I met through my older brother, he is, and he introduced us to Strong Coffee. He's a CEO of a technology company. He's a 5x investor, sorry, 6x investor with Pig. Sorry, 6-figure investor. 5x. We only have 5 companies, so he's a 5x investor, but he's over 6 figures. We have Nick Wiegand. He's a friend of mine, I think 4 or 5 years, but we're like brothers because we are both competitive jiu-jitsu fighters. He's a world champ. I'm a world champ. So we have that in common, and really, really good friends. And he is a director of advanced manufacturing, global metals and assembly. So he's a lot smarter than I am. And he's created huge value. He's from Indianapolis. Ryan Schmidt, not far from me in Dallas. He and I have known each other about 3+ years. We worked together at Neighborhood Loans. He is a branch manager, but he's also a savvy real estate investor. Jeremy Hopkins, who I don't believe is on this call, he is our defense executive. He's a military expert. Basically, he's an arms dealer for the U.S. He's an awesome guy. He's brought us a ton of referrals, a ton of money, and he's helped me a lot with a lot of what I don't know. And he's here out of South Lake. Juan Loya, also Neighborhood Loans partner and almost 18-year friend from the mortgage business. He's out of Chicago, Illinois, and he is actually was our original Pig board member, and was the one who actually gave me that nudge to talk to IRA companies so we can start an IRA. So I appreciate that. And then Mark Martinez, close to 25-year friend. The first house I ever bought in 2004 was his house. And he's in Southern California, along with James, and he is the mortgage business as well. And then our newest board member, who unfortunately is on a flight right now, but she's our first female board member, and she is Erin Murray out of the Phoenix, Arizona area. Her and her family are investors in all 5 companies. Her husband happens to be the founder of Reva Solar, and they are 6x investors. So that is our board. And now I'm ready to answer some questions. So that's kind of where we are. Before I go to the questions that were emailed to me, does anyone have anything live that you want to that you want to ask? Okay, you're all on mute anyway. So if you're all talking, don't talk all at once. So as you unmute yourself, if you have any questions, let me just answer some of these questions. So these are all given to me between the last week, and I got about 3 or 4 today. So we're 25 minutes in this call. So, okay, let's go. What is your favorite company of the 5? So and it's hard for me to answer because I'm invested in all five, almost equally in all five. And I'll tell you, I love all of them, or I wouldn't have set them up. From a company where I can put my hands on, and it's everything except for solar, which I love solar, especially. I love their $1 billion valuation. I drink Deliverance twice a day for my health. I drink coffee twice a day, 7 days a week. So I do that one. I drink Golden Eagle vodka Fridays and Saturdays to excess. And what's the other one I'm missing? Then the restaurant. Every time I'm in Southern California, where I'm from, I'm having events and parties at the restaurant. So I love all the CEOs. I really don't know that I have a favorite. I was asked literally from one of our board members. He's investing on behalf of one of his kids, and which we've had quite a few people do that. And he asked me which one I would do, and it's hard to answer. And I said, listen, if you're looking for the long play with a huge amount of money, then you should probably look at either Deliverance and or Reba. If you're looking at there's nothing quick and easy, but if you're looking at the other ones, then you've got the vodka and you've got coffee. I chose all those companies, by the way, because they all have about the same shelf life. 3 to 5 years is what they all want to do when they sell. And it just happens to be that 3 to 5 year mark, 5 year plus is 5 year ish is when my youngest goes off to college and I become an empty nester. So how great would it be if all these companies cash out at the same time? That'd be awesome. So, but I like them all. There's nothing I don't like about any of them. Some are at high revenue right now. Some are growing and ramping up. And some are pre-revenue. Obviously, the restaurant is pre-revenue because they haven't opened, and Reva Solar is pre-revenue because they haven't started up until about January. But the other ones are doing revenue and they're doing really well. What is the long-term goal for Pig? Well, I don't like to just put my foot in the shallow end. I like to dive deep. So I say we get more companies and we keep building and raising more money so we can secure our investments, de-risk our investments, and help these companies grow so we can get a good return on our money. So growth wins, more companies, and expand our social network. Can I buy Pig swag? Actually, Jeremy and I are in the process of buying an apparel company here in Dallas, partnering with them, and then buying them out. And that way, anything we have from shirts, hats, anything we want, custom made, we can get done, and we don't have to order in bulk. We can buy one at a time if we want. So there is Pig swag. If you like something, let me know, and I'll get it for you. What is our ownership in Pig Investments? We're the majority investor in the restaurant. We're the majority investor in coffee. We're the majority investor in vodka. We were, up until an hour ago, the majority investor in Deliverance. And we are the majority investor in Reva Solar. What is your vetting process? I already answered that question. Are there other companies you're working with? I answered that. What challenges have you had? I'm going to try to keep this call positive. I don't want to bring negative energy to the call. The challenges, I guess, short and sweet, is legal, contractual, financial. I had no idea how expensive this would be. I had no idea how much time this would be. And dealing with the SEC, the feds, the states, renewals, a ton of work. So a lot of challenges on that. Starting something where I have 79 new friends. If you weren't already my friend, I have new friends now, is awesome. I lost two very good friends in this process of starting Pig. It just, it was unfortunate. It's not how it was supposed to be. But I have to move on to positive things and not into toxic environments. So that's, those are some of the challenges we had. Would I still do this knowing what I now know? 100%. So like I mentioned, I have a ton of new friends. I have CEOs and companies I never would have known about. And if I wouldn't have known about, I never would have invested in them. And I'm very confident and happy with where my investment money is. I'm thrilled to be part of this group. I never thought that I would be able to do something like this, which is super awesome. So I wouldn't change any. Well, I would do some things differently, a lot differently, but I wouldn't change where I'm at right now. I think all the headaches from the sins of 2023 and some of early 2024 have been fixed, and I'm very happy where we're at. So, life is about learning lessons. I'm happy where we're at. Okay. So a couple of updates on the companies. As I read some of these texts from you, there's a ton. What is the board doing to expedite, to grow and sell some of these companies, as people who have money tied up currently have money to invest in future Pig companies? Yeah. What are we doing to expedited. I mean, we're funding them. So I'll use Golden Eagle as an example. When I met Dakota in December of last year, and then we were at New Year's before we cut a deal in January. They were, I believe, in 30 restaurants, or what they call pods. You're either in a restaurant or a liquor store, anywhere that would sell the vodka. That's a pod. They were in 30 plus in Southern California. And obviously the product's great. They've won all these awards. They are now in over 200 with the expectation to be over 300. Dakota would be the first to tell you, because he said it on his CEO call, is that happened with Pig's money. And they're in Nevada now. They've got pre-order for 20 new pods with their new salesperson. We're coming into Texas. They're interviewing and hiring a Texas person, and they're going to be in Michigan and Illinois. I'm speaking for them, but they said the same thing. They wouldn't be expansion mode if it wasn't for our money. I could say the exact same thing about Strong Coffee. Adam and I talked just the other day about what he's doing with Sprouts and with some other deals. And the Pig money's been absolutely instrumental. I know Dan from Solar has said the same thing. I know Siggy has said the same thing. And obviously the restaurant doesn't open in January if it isn't for our money. So what we're doing is we're funding them. We're putting more money, getting more friends and friends and friends to put more money in. And then we're actually getting exposure. I mean, there's a lot of people. I don't know that as strong as the Dakota and his team, which is all based out of Southern California, I don't know that they would have ambassadors in Florida, in Illinois, in Delaware, Maine, all these areas that Pig investors are, if it wasn't for us. So Dakota, I see you on the text thread. You want to comment on this?
Yeah, I was just pinging is a very unique comment by Jeff, and just short answering yes. I know a great majority of the Pig investment companies have, long-term exit strategies that are 6, 7, 8, 9, 10x multiples of revenue, or however they're measuring that or projecting that. I was mostly making a little comment relative to what that looks like for Golden Eagle specifically, with the question being, do all investments have to be, liquidatable for exit only? And for Golden Eagle, we're obviously working towards the viability of exit specifically. But if obviously exit is predicated on a multitude of factors, not just are we selling the cases that we need to sell, and does the brand value become what we want and are building it to. Somebody could buy us out tomorrow just based on the product, the positioning, the branding, how they think it fits in their portfolio and their growth strategy. And somebody could say, yeah, Golden Eagle is, selling 250,000 cases annually, but it just doesn't fit for us right now. So there's so many nuances to that. And for us specifically, if we get in a position, 5, 6, 7 years from now, and positioning for an exit with a strategic buyer is just based on the industry landscape at the time, not getting over the line, it is an intention of our company to begin declaring dividends in this exact manner and continuing to mobilize for long-term, sort of think of it a legacy brand type operation. So doing things like, how can we reinvest the profit that we're having? Yes, of course, declaring dividends is great, but how can we reinvest money to build a brick and mortar distillery of our own? How can we, vertically scale into potentially buying ag land and producing all of our own grains? How do we, cut our cost of goods by just vertically scaling in-house? Generally speaking, right now we're a marketing company and we're a sales company. We want to get out there, build the brand, build it to a specific value so that a larger, more capable supplier company can come in and pump Golden Eagle through their sales channels. Now, of course, that's the idea, but we run this marathon, and for whatever reason, the timing doesn't work out. It is our intention to start declaring dividends. For example, exactly as you outlined, Jeff, here, long-term residuals and profit shares for the investors. So we would declare dividends to Pig. Pig would then declare it relative to the cap table that it has on any Golden Eagle LLCs. So that's a thing for us.
Yeah, great question. Actually, yeah, two people asked the same question on text, so that's awesome. One of the things that they're to kind of the earlier question, what is Pig doing to help grow it? I think the money is helping it grow, but it's changed the landscape of some of these companies, because the Strong Coffee went from an $8.5 million valuation to, I believe it's 13.5 now. It's still a great company if they sell for 100 to 200 mil. It's still an amazing investment, but that valuation change came through Pig's money. Dakota's company is going from 10 to 15 mil imminently here in the next few weeks, and that is as a thank you to its investors, to show the value has grown, because the value has grown. They've made more revenue now than they've exceeded their goals from 2024, probably mid-year already. So that's awesome. And then, hot off the press, you're going to hear it first because I just got this text probably 5 minutes before the call. But Deliverance, the liver care company, which was valued at, see, here's where I got to be careful if I send this text. So, well, their value. Their value was 15 mil. That's public. They just picked up an $11 million investor. They have an operating agreement for that. That is a ton of money. That $11 million just got picked up. Of course, cash isn't in the bank yet, but it's a note, and out of Scottsdale, Arizona. So I got a text from Siggy that says he's going to close this round, and he's going to close it if not weeks. The company, now I got to be careful saying them. I mean, he's not there because it's got to be midnight in London where he's at right now, but I'm sure he'll see this. I would only tell you that the valuation's at 15, and right now the valuation actually is at 15. It will be significantly more than double that. So if you have money in Deliverance, your money has more than doubled. Of course, it's not cash, but you know what I'm saying, and that is huge. So those are the kind of things. Now, what we did with Deliverance is, and how we can help grow their revenue, to one of the questions I got via text. We signed a deal with the Wynn Casino through one of our pig contacts, and myself signed a deal with the Wynn, 2,500 rooms at the Wynn that is going to be in their Revive kits, which is, their little refrigerator that's at the hotel, and Deliverance will be there. That is absolute revenue, ton of money, with a QR code that's going to send them to the website if they want more later. The money is just gigantic. That is 100% a pig play. And that is what Pig and the Pig Army has done, which is totally huge. I'll be at the Wynn in a couple of weeks with Ryan. And that looks to roll out as early as December, if not first week of January. And once it gets in the Wynn, we've got some not backup, but some follow-up resorts, Resort World and some of the other casinos that have already expressed interest, but it has to come.
Mimi Mimi, who's the president of Equilibrium Labs, did confirm that they did sign the agreement, and the outlook for other high-end hotels in Vegas is going to be spread out. So this Deliverance product in and of itself is going to explode.
Yep, there you go. So that is great for all the liver care investors. I did get a question earlier about if the IRA sometimes can take 2 to 3 weeks to fund the money to your custodian, back to us, back to the company. But I've got an agreement with all CEOs, whether it's Adam or Dakota or any of the CEOs. If you make a commitment, they will honor that commitment at that price, even if they've changed the valuation. And so we have, not only a gentleman's agreement, it's actually contractual, but it's also on a spreadsheet too. So if someone says, "Hey, I want to move my money from my IRA, but it's going to take 2 to 4 weeks," and the value changes next week, you'll get honored at that money. And that was a question I got right before this call, because I did let the board know 5 minutes before this call that this was happening. And one of the board members said, "Look, we're in. How soon are they changing it, and will they honor?" I'm like, "Yeah, we're good." So everyone's honored. It happened with coffee as well. We got people in at the last minute before they changed price. So I think those are some of the things that show that's what the Pig Army does. Unlike any investment, you invest in Apple or Nike or Adidas, they take your money and you just cross your fingers and check out a share price and see what happens. You might be on a call that you can't talk on, and you can hear what they're doing. Very corporate and this, that, the other. Here, we're actually moving the dial. I mean, just right before the call, we had a couple of people from Vegas, who are going to help Dakota. We're going to get them on the phone with them so we can, expand the Golden Eagle line in Vegas. So that's where I think we create value. And I think that's where Pig is different. Of course, Pig takes IRA money, which a lot of companies do, but some do. And we don't have minimums, right? So, I mean, I'm not sure at this point, I really want to entertain a $1,500 investment, because I didn't realize the cost of renewing per investor per state. Now that I'm at renewals and I'm realizing it doesn't make sense for me to take someone's $1,500, because it'll cost me more to have you there. But in theory, we don't have minimums. If you want to invest $10,000, you want to do it 3 different ways, and give us 30, that's great. No one else would do that. And we are working, once all these SEC, Fed, and state stuff is done, I am working on a early 2025 model of making us become a group fund. We're a group fund now, a crowd fund, where we can be like a Robinhood, have an app, and literally invest whatever we want and bypass a lot of the stuff that we have to go through right now. Of course, we have to get approval as well from the SEC, but that's kind of where we're headed. We are working through some of our board members as well on some large companies that have expressed interest in funding all of our companies, which would be great. And those are some of the things that we're working on here behind the scenes. So that is that. Deliverance is the focus, direct to consumer or the liver clinics. It's both. The liver kit that you got tested at my house, which showed how healthy your liver was, that liver kit, I believe I got a text today that said they're at 20 different centers or something like that. And that is great. But then there's the deliverance product, which is of course direct to consumer. So it's a combo of both. Has the price changed on deliverance? I would like to throw in some money. Just got that. So you might have missed what I just said. The price is changing imminently, like in the next week or two. And it is changing now that they have an $11 million investor, and it's going to be a 2.5, maybe a 3x change. So that's at 15 mil right now. I can't give the specific number because I'm not allowed to, because it's not official, but it is happening. So if you want to get into deliverance, then yeah, get in there. Okay. Any other questions before I wrap up? All the other calls lasted an hour, so I did not want to be longer than them. So we still have about 15 minutes. But does anyone else have any other questions, live or text? I'm trying to keep up with the chat. Looks like we're good there. Any other questions on investments, on PIG, on where we're headed, stuff like that?
I know I think maybe we're just responding to my question, but about deliverance, like what is the primary focus for revenue more the direct to consumer avenue or the liver clinics and that subscription model? Because I know there's like three components to how, where their valuation comes from, including the IP.
Yeah. The product, the little liver care thing that we drink, that is direct to consumer, right? And that direct consumer is going to come via us on website, online, e-commerce, and of course being at the casinos and stuff that we're doing, and eventually going elsewhere. The liver kits, which I think I heard that they were at close to 20 centers where you go somewhere like you did at my house and they get tested. That's a whole other revenue stream. That is less about the bottle that you're drinking and actually having someone test your liver and check it out and see where you're at. So it's a dual revenue stream, and that part's exciting.
Yeah.
And any other product that falls. Any other product that falls under the equilibrium family, so not just liver, anything else they end up designing and building is part of what we're investing in. We're investing in Equilibrium, which is the parent company.
Okay, that's exciting. Do you have any sense of like where the money and time is being spent between the liver clinics, which is going to take a lot longer to scale, versus the D2C?
Go ahead, Steve.
So I can't say a lot, but liver clinics are opening up not only in the United States, but internationally as well. And the opportunity of a liver clinic to an entity, let's say it's a med spa and they put a liver clinic in, they're in the, what is it? The Fort Worth Club. Right. Okay. I mean, that's, very high end. The average cost, I believe, of a liver scan, which you can't even get unless you go to like a Hoag or a Cleveland Clinic, and you need to get a liver scan because you're ill. It's very profitable. So the combination of opening liver clinics, which I know one is opening up here shortly in Orange County, and others are opening up in other areas. And the profit margin to the people who are going to invest in those clinics to themselves is going to be, it should be a win-win. And along with it will be the deliverance product, which is a subscription product. So once you sign up for it, you get it. If you take it or not, you're going to get billed for it. That's kind of a cool thing for all of us who, have gym memberships or whatever, and it just, it pays itself monthly, and we live with it. But the opportunities are expansive from what I'm seeing right now.
Hey, Dan, this is Dennis. Do you want me to just chat a bit about the help I'm doing with their D2C fulfillment model?
Yes, if you can fix your microphone, I'd be more than happy to hear it, because that was all mumbled.
Okay, hang on. How's that? Is that better?
It's much better. Yeah. Go ahead, Dennis.
Okay. Yep. Yep. So I'm helping Siggy and Mimi with some of the operational challenges that are going to be hitting them as they scale. So I'll be helping them put up larger, more expansive systems and warehouse management capabilities so that they can increase their fulfillment process. Today, they're very low scale, but with this type of investment and the advent of these liver clinics generating more continual buying of the product, obviously the D2C, the direct to consumer piece, we're going to have to continue to fulfill more and more orders every day. So I'm helping them scale that to outsource the warehousing, bring in the systems, tie in their material requirements planning system to help, with the factory piece, right? Because they still have to manufacture the product, right? It's got to be manufactured, packaged, boxed up, brought to the warehouse, and then fulfilled. So I'm helping with all of those pieces to help them scale to this next level.
Awesome. Appreciate it. And Dennis, we will be doing a podcast with Dennis because he's also not only a liver care investor, but he was a liver care user, one of the early ones, and he had a very unhealthy liver. And we'll get in details later. We don't have time on this call. And he's now taking liver care for X amount of time, for X amount of months, and his liver is very good right now. And without changing anything in his diet, in his drinking, in his exercise, nothing, just adding liver care to his regime, daily regime, and then regimen is what I meant. So it's pretty awesome. So be on the lookout for a podcast there. Okay, I'm gonna wrap up and then open it up one more time for questions if you have last minute questions. But while you figure out if you have any, I have an ask. I don't ask for many things, and I don't ask for a lot of favors. Everyone who's on this call, even some of the CEOs are investing in other companies. Dakota's invested in 2 companies, Rava Solar through Ross, and Dan specifically as well, have invested in a lot of companies as well of our pig family, which I think is pretty neat. So I'm not asking for anyone's money on this call. You've already given it to us and to these companies, which is awesome. If you want to put more in, like some people have texted me, they want to get a liver care or this, that, the other, that's great. That's not my ask. My ask is that we inject some superpower to these 4 active raises via your sphere of influence by bringing in more investors and more money. So it's simple. Tell a friend, tell your family what you're into, share the good news of what you're doing and what you're in. Share the links, share the videos online. I will personally talk to anybody, as will anyone on the board, talk to anyone about these companies. We really want to take these companies to the next level for that exit possibility as well. Speaking of liver care, they have a long-term 5-year exit strategy with a 3-year early distribution model, and you can choose as they start getting close for the model. That came directly from the CEO about 20 minutes ago. So I'll talk to anyone. The average pig investor right now is $61,000 per investment. Some are higher, some are in the $200,000 range, and some are lower, which is totally fine. Some are in the $10,000 range. But if half of our 79 investors right now, which is about 40 people, if you all brought in one investor at 50,000, that would be $2 million injected into our companies. That is huge money that will take our companies to the next level. The money is used for growth, sales reps, marketing, advertising, events, product. You saw what happened with the bottleneck at Strong Coffee. They're fully stocked again, which is awesome. And that was a bottleneck from their company growing, 40x here over like a month span. So that'll take us to about 120 investors. And then one day I'll ask that group to see if they can get one person to get another 40, and we continue to grow it. So my ask is that you help expand our pig 4, the 4 active companies, and then the soon to be maybe 2 more. And I'll talk to anyone. I'll send pitch decks if you don't already have them. I'll talk to anybody, as I talked to just about everyone on this call when I first got you involved here. But I know we can do this. I can't legally, per SEC rules, and now I have to be a stickler to rules, I can't entice or reward anyone with a referral fee. But the companies you invest can. And I've spoken to those companies, and we are working on referral reward plans. Dakota and I were the first to talk about it because he's like, Dan, can you offer a discount on this, or can you do this? Look, I can't. I legally cannot do it. And I get audited probably more than I ever thought I would be. So what we can do is we're going to have, and I will share this on a wrap-up email, but what we can do is have 3 tiers. I'm not going to go into detail right now because I'd have to look at my phone and all this other stuff, but we're going to have 3 tiers. Let's say you're a $10,000 to $20,000 investor, you're going to get specific discounts on vodka. And eventually we're going to do this with all the companies. If you're a 20 to $30,000, $35,000 investor, you're going to get a second tier. We're talking boxes, custom engraved bottles for you and family, and a whole bunch of other stuff. And then there's going to be the tier 3, which is like the VIP tier. And those who refer of you who refer X amount of money will then get a third tier. I'll put this all out there. I'm working on it with coffee, with liver care as well. But I can't incentivize you, but I can get the companies to incentivize you. And of course, they want me to raise the money so I can give it to them. So we all win. So that's a very cool thing. We are doing for just the pig investors, which is all pig family here on here right now. We all get 15% discount codes for life, right? It's Powerhouse Dan or Powerhouse Mike, Powerhouse Jimmy, whatever. They're going to up that for 3 months starting October through the new year to 25%. So that'll be pretty cool. It's not going to give you credit for those bottles that you get it for every 25, but 15 to 25 is a pretty big difference. So that's going to be pretty cool. And that's so you can spend, your money on vodka at a significant discount now. So hopefully you can buy some more for the holidays. So that is very exciting. So just to do a recap, we have a vodka company that aims to sell for $200 to $400 million, which is a 20 to 40x. We have a coffee company that wants to sell for 100 to 200 mil, which is a 15 to 30x. We have Solar and Deliverance that want to be billion-dollar companies, and some guy just is about to write a check for $11 million as an investor, which is awesome. Starting when, Mark? October 1st. There's a lot of tons of stuff. So tell your friends about Pig. Don't invest alone. Don't do it by yourself. Don't make money and be selfish and make all this money you're going to get in 3 to 5 years and just have it for yourself. You'll make more money if more people fund these companies. I know Dakota wants the money. I know Adam wants the money. I know Ross and Dan want the money. And I know Siggy wants the money. So that is my follow up. I'm looking here at the notes. Dakota says all pig investor codes will increase to 25% off value until December 31st. 25% off on Golden Eagle bottles, 25% on gift boxes. Okay, someone's asking, how does the percentage work? I invest and I choose which company it goes to, or does it get split evenly? It's a great question. I get asked that all the time. I am not investing in companies that you don't want to be in. For some people who aren't in the alcohol business or want to have anything to do with alcohol, I'm not investing in an alcohol company. For some people who don't drink coffee and don't believe in coffee, I'm not investing for you. You choose your investment and how much you want to invest. And then I build a cap table. So for easy math, if we have $100,000 given to Golden Eagle and you invested 25,000, you'd be 25% owner of that fund. So it's pretty simple. So when that 100,000 turns into, let's call it $5 million, you would get 25% of that $5 million. It's all contractual. It's all signed by lawyers. It's all countersigned essentially through my agreements with Dakota. That's in the vodka example. So yeah, I will never invest on your behalf. I've had actually people who said, Dan, just here's my 100 grand, invest in it. Like, I don't want to be responsible for that. This is not a cash company. We carry no cash. That money that you send goes right to them. Right? We have a pig management fee, which is lower than it should be. And that's not even covering the cost of these renewals and SEC and LLC and all the stuff we got to deal with. But this is a long play for all of us, self-included, to be able to put our own money in, like mine is, your money, invested in someone like Adam and Dakota and Dan and whoever else, so they can grow it. They sell, we get money, you get paid, done. So that's kind of the goal. So I won't invest on your behalf. One day I'm going to invest in something and you're going to not believe in that product. So I would never want your money to be something that, that you don't believe in. I want you to be rooting for your team, right? If you're a vodka drinker, root for it, right? And be excited when you see stuff that's going on. If you're investing in liver, you should be stoked right now that you just heard there's an $11 million person investing in the company. You should be super stoked that value is going to go up 3x like right away. It's 15 mil. Do the math. What's 2 to 3x? 30 mil, 45 mil. Like, that is amazing. You should be super excited that we are going to be inside the win, which is 2,500 rooms per night, for them to continue to just recycle that. I mean, it's absolutely huge. You should be excited that we have the World Champion Pickleball Tournament coming here in Dallas, where the sole coffee provider is Strong Coffee, like they were at CrossFit. They've already been invited to the next CrossFit Games. I was there. It's awesome. So that is, hopefully that answers your question. You figure out how much. Again, really no minimums, other than if it's in a state I've never been in, I will take a minimum because I don't want to pay for that license to start in that state. But if it's in a state we already have investors, I mean, we really don't have minimums. So that's my follow-up. That's my favor. That's my ask. Ask others. Tell a friend. If I have to make 40 calls because you gave me 40 referrals of people to talk to, that's fine. Some of the investors we have on the call, I've spent hours on the phone with. I talked to Steve and Mimi for an hour about OC Local for them to put 25-ish grand into it. 6 months later, they're in every company we're in at significantly more money than that. So that 1 hour call made them 5X investors and made us partners with Deliverance and has been huge. So, all right. Now we're 5 minutes prior to an hour. Does anyone have any live follow-up questions on anything? There's nothing I won't answer. Unmute yourself, ask any questions. And if any board members have any comments or anything they want to bring up, please feel free to make yourself known. In other words, I just don't want to hear myself talk anymore.
Thanks, Dan.
Okay, so I think that's it. I hope you got some value out of this. I hope you got value out of the 4 CEO calls. I will send a link probably tomorrow of those calls with the CEOs. I will send updates as I normally do. I'll recap this call probably without the details. So those AI note takers, if you can like edit the stuff that talks about the financials, I don't want to get them and or me in trouble. But if you want to send me those notes, I will share those. And I will send the referral perks that Golden Eagle was the first to submit there. So I appreciate you guys, but that's awesome. So we're at 79 pig strong right now. I do think we're probably going to end the year at about 85 or 90. And I know that this time next year, we're going to have a couple hundred people in the pig army, which is huge. We'll have 2 to 3 maybe companies. Some of these companies, by the way, have come from you guys, which is awesome. And it's just super exciting to see. So with that, I will stay around longer, not on this Zoom, because I don't want to see myself anymore. But if you want to text me or email me or call me after this, I'll be around all night. Otherwise, have a great weekend. And I appreciate everyone in the pig family for giving me an hour. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Dan.
See you guys.
Thanks, Dan.
Thank you, Dan.